All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Answer the Call. I'm here with my co-host Croncy, and it's IAE week. For those of you guys though that don't know Answer the Call is it's a podcast based off of sports radio. So if you guys have ever seen any sports radio in the U.S., I don't know how it is in other countries, but essentially you have a couple hosts, one host, talk a little bit, and then people can call in and share their opinions on whatever he talked about. That's what we're doing here today, and what we've been doing here for years.
I like to think of it as like the late night love dedications that come in on radio and give us all the stories about their fantastic relationships.
Oh my God. Is it like Love Line or whatever? That's what used to be a thing when I was a kid. Yeah. I don't think of it that way. So don't do that. Don't tell me that you have like a weird, we're not doctors. We're not Dr. Drew or whatever. We don't know this stuff. We're not able to give advice. We're here to talk about spaceships. Okay. That's pretty much it. If you have a lump somewhere, go see a real doctor. But yeah, it's IAE week. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. 321 went live since we last talked. There's a lot of new ships, one incredibly unique, and there's some cool stuff going on in 322, I guess. So that's what we'll be touching on today. But I don't know. You want to start out with 321.1 since that was kind of I think that was the first thing that happened this week.
Pretty much, yeah. That as long as like the roadmap roundup. But I feel like it's a good one to start with.
Sure.
Because it finally went to live. I mean, we've been talking about it for the last 2 weeks about whether or not it was going to work and be okay. It felt very rushed as we were going through PTU, but at least in my experience, I'm happy to say that it's been great in live, even during IAE for me at the very least, all my experiences. Have you felt the same? Like how's performance been?
Performance has been okay. I haven't done any. So the only time that I've really jumped in since IAE started outside of checking out IAE was we did a mining operation yesterday, and there were 35 people. It was 33, I think.
Oh, wow.
All mining on Selen, and it was crazy. And we had 230Ks, but that could happen for any reason, right? So it's hard to blame that on the free fly. And, we recovered, went right back to it, and ended up with over 100 SCU of every tier 1 material and just a little bit of Quantanium. So I think we did pretty well, and it was a lot of fun. But in my experience, I would say it doesn't feel like your normal free fly.
Yeah.
Unless you go to Microtech, and that could be the reason why, is that most people are around Microtech, so other places are a little bit more chill.
Possibly. I'm definitely getting like frame issues in New Babbage, but that's about it.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that was really surprising to me after the release, so the immediate first thing I did was check out like the FPS missions and see how the AI was doing. And up until the free fly, it was amazing, and I can't stop doing them. There are a couple of bugs that are a bit annoying, where like NPCs are spawning half in the ground, or in other locations. But there's a bunch of missions that hasn't stopped the fun. It's kind of just like some NPCs are a little weird, but there's still enough like gameplay and content happening that it doesn't matter. When the free fly came around, I was assuming that it was going to be like every Invictus and every IE has been for at least the last couple of years, where everything then starts to tank. I was on a server today for server FPS. I fully expected everything to be absolutely garbage. No, the AI were shooting me. They were reacting to me. They were flanking me. They were like, all the behaviors were working. So I don't know what the hell they did to the AI behaviors to get them to actually work in bad servers. But this might be my new. It's almost every patch, but this might be my new favorite patch.
Feel that way. Yeah, every patch is obviously going to be the new favorite patch because the game's growing or whatever, right? But I think. Yeah, I was
really impressed.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what it's really come down to lately is that there are more things to do as well. So you have like your vehicle tractor beams you can check out. There's new missions now, and as the game grows, there's more things to check out. Were you doing the data heist missions, I'm assuming, or?
Yeah, data heist missions, as well as in 321.1, they brought back the rappel raids on the different Orison platforms.
Yeah.
And they work. Like, they 99% of the time they work, or at least in my experience have worked. So it's been very fun to be able to do those as well, because it's, breaks up the monotony of like bunkers and stuff.
Yeah, I think you said it. I'm pretty sure it was you. You've been finding 30 FPS servers too, right? Like that's one experience I've not have had.
I haven't in live yet.
No, not in live. Okay, on the PTU you had, which is a little easier. I didn't even find any on the PTU. I just got kind of unlucky in that regard. Vehicle tractor beams are great. They're a great start. That's where I'm at with them. We talked plenty about them over the last couple of weeks, so I don't think we need to hammer home on that too much. As I feel with every feature that comes in its first state, and this is impossible as the game grows without the teams growing, is I need them to continue on with those features for them to. It's a good start, but it is not where it needs to be. I think one of the biggest highlights that I've mentioned a couple times today, but for the podcast I'll mention, is during our mining operation, the only tractor beam that you can replace, not remove, but replace mining bags with is the multi-tool. The rest of them don't bring up the green highlight, so you can do it. So you can't use ships to do it. You can't use the dedicated handheld tractor beam to do it. Although that thing sounds so awesome and it's super cool, it doesn't have all the functionality of the multi-tool. So they still have a little bit of work to do to bring it up. Like, the new really good tractor beams aren't even up to the standard of the current multi-tool tractor beam yet. So there's still a lot of work to do yet when it comes to that stuff, as well as just general like balance and things that it'll grow over time.
Yeah.
Other than that,
you touched on it a little bit, the data heist mission. Such an amazing, actually good, fun multi-crew mission. I've been absolutely loving it. We did one today. We did one of the really high-end ones where you've got to do 5 uploads. The fact, as you progress through like the different levels of them, the higher level ones, you don't get a marker telling you which server is down and where you're going to find the code. So you have to actively run around searching for it. You can have multiple servers go down at the same time, which means there's an actual element of stress in the mission, which just doesn't really exist anywhere else in the game, because there's not really like time constraints, or like there's never really that much of a threat of enemies coming to you. But because you've got to run around everywhere, if you get caught out at a point where an elevator has spawned a couple of enemies, like that like there's actual like big stressor moments. So I think they've done a fantastic job with that mission, to the point where I'll probably spam that for the next 3 months before I'll get bored.
Well, yeah, and they seem to have added quite a bit of rep in it as well, where the last mission is like 500K, and you definitely need people to do it, and things like that. Did you see this? So this is from the 5-star. He makes like a YouTube video for every patch called like Shadow Patch Notes. There's a new hacking chip. Did you see this yet?
Yes.
I haven't seen it, so I'll bring it up on screen. I just got to press my buttons to get there, but there's a new hacking chip called the Funt.
Yeah, it's real fast.
Is it? Does it break a lot like the old ones used to? The really good ones used to break the hack quite a bit, even though they were fast?
It didn't seem to, but I only got a chance to use it like twice, so not 100% sure. But yeah, very, very quick, which was nice, because there's they haven't talked to us much about hacking since it got like put on the back burner like 2 years ago at this stage. And so I don't know why they made Funt. Maybe it's an intermediary sort of thing of just like, hey, here, just have like the Tiger Claw is kind of cringe. Just have this one that you can use at all of the current hacking sites to get you through. Or similar to what CIG do with a lot of features, it could be a future-proofing thing. Like we may use that in a future thing. I don't know. But so I'm around.
Were you around for the old hacking chips where there used to be like 4 or 5 different ones? Did you come in around that time?
There was like 6 or so, and it was like some would be slower but had less chance of breaking and so on.
But they were all like basically balanced. They were all the same.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything crazy, but this one feels powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It went really quick when we used it. We used it in the data heist mission because we couldn't find the access card.
Now, question: you found it on the loot table, right? Not in a shop or anything?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all. That's if you're gonna have something that's gonna be like a little bit overpowered or better than something else, not being able to buy it for 5 credits in the store is usually a good way to go about it, right? So that's what I like to see personally. So that's neat. I like that. And yeah, I just wanted to point that out because I just saw it today and was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was an interesting little thing for it to pop up.
For sure. The only other thing that I want to talk about around 321.1 is maybe we save this for the roadmap stuff because it's sort of related. Let's use this leading into the roadmap stuff.
Okay.
Jake posts the roadmap every week, and Nebel, I think that's how you pronounce it, responded, "Hey, what's going on with replication layer?" And because we just went through Pyro Preview, I'm 99% sure. No, maybe this was related to something else, but I had Proxys here who deals with the platform and stuff. And when we were talking about ePTU versus PTU, they were just using ePTU because PTU wasn't ready. It wasn't like this experimental. It wasn't telling us that it was experimental, things like that. Well, guess what? The preview channel was just Pyro, so now they have to move into the preview channel for this next cycle. So I think that that's what's going on here. And it sounds like we're going to get a 321.2 at some point.
Yeah, most likely.
Obviously, given this, or at some point during the 321.1 cycle. So the preview channel is still planned to happen before 322. So keep an eye out. It's going to happen. We're excited for it, for sure. Because those 30Ks that we had during the mining op, it was basically like, imagine if that didn't happen, right? Because I know you love mining. Check out this rock we found. I found a 75K mass, 30% Bexylite, 30 hold on, 30% Terranite. Yeah.
What was the rest?
Was it
like a heavy,
tiny bit of inert and titanium?
Yeah, titanium. Still though, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's it's a bit of a moneymaker.
And we 30K'd while scooping that one.
It's because that rock's not supposed to exist.
Probably.
They needed to rebalance you. That's insane.
I've never seen a combo tier 1 before. I never knew that was possible. I'd never come across that.
I don't think I've either, yeah.
So, like, I found the money rock, and
that's huge.
It was the first rock I went to the surface and found, by the way.
Jeez. Streamer luck. Yeah, it was crazy. But
let's jump into the roadmap stuff. Roadmaps are quiet. They've been quiet for 6 months plus, I would say. They are very slow and very incremental. What I want to ask you what you think about that. I love that. I love that's the way it is.
It's better because they haven't had to remove stuff, right? Like
exactly.
It's been a lot more consistent with what's come in. I think the only thing that's gotten removed from the roadmap in the last 2 years, was it hull? No, it wasn't hull stripping. Something got pushed a patch that was like committed. I don't remember what it was, but one thing got pushed. But yeah, no, it's been great here. Now, these are a little bit smaller, but I mean, even this week's was like pretty decent and interesting stuff. Though some of the stuff we already knew about, right? So like we've got the new Derik Settlements. So these will be the ones that we saw at CitizenCon. I'm hoping they get the oil rig in because the oil rig looked really cool.
Was the oil rig in Stanton? It looked like it was on Hurston. Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll likely be those ones because these guys have been making them pretty much non-stop, I think, since they started making the settlements last year. They've just been making more and more, more and more assets and stuff.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. I do like the new Arena Commander maps, just in general. Some more FPS maps, kind of doing the similar thing to what they did with some of the races, where it's like, here is a location on Stanton that we're going to, actually design a bit more for FPS, and we're going to put that into Arena Commander.
I want to touch on that a little more before we move on. I mean, it being a settlement is like the first step to feeling theaters of war a little bit, I think.
Sure.
Settlements are much bigger, much more open.
Yeah.
Do we have a single FPS Arena Commander mode that's really, really sniper friendly? No.
No. Not at
So
all. No.
this will be one. This is, if you tie this into some of the stuff that we're seeing with improvements to the ground vehicle radar or whatever, right? I do want to talk to you quite a bit about that today too, as well. Just because I think that's a lot sneakier of a big deal than people think, and I want to hear what you think about it. But I just think like Bloodshot Ridge and this Maker's Point thing are, I'm not saying theaters of war, but it is that I think what the FPS modes need to feel more like playing in the PU. Like I love I love Gun Rush. I love playing the FPS modes. They're addictive. They're fun, but they are not as representative of the experience you would have in the PU, except for Security Post Korea. That's why I love that map. It's pretty representative of the experience there. But the I am so excited for this Bloodshot Ridge in particular and Maker's Point, just because I think it'll take that FPS mode to the level I'd like to see it, and hopefully we start seeing those balancing elements that we would need. But
but also like as a more sort of clear point of what you're saying specifically, like they say Bloodshot Ridge FPS modes and all flight modes, meaning this location has been designed with that in mind. So 100% it is probably the case of we want to see what interaction between different like levels of modes or whatever would look like in these locations. They look very cool. We have no idea what these look like. So we're gonna have to wait to see what they are. We don't even know where Bloodshot Ridge is, at least based on this. We know that Maker's Point is on Hurston. Cool. We're curious for that.
Might be,
but then the other
might be the one you're looking. That this might be the oil tanker or whatever. The oil
Maker's Point. Yeah,
could be.
Yeah, maybe
that would be a name. Maybe.
Yeah, and then probably the more important thing for the Arena Commander updates is multi-crew. Yes. So
Huge.
Duncan was very excited to get this stuff in, and has been very excited ever since he's been working on AC and whatnot. But this is a massive deal because it is one huge detriment to Arena Commander is not being able to jump into your friends' ships, not being able to go and do a mission like the Vandal Swarms or whatever. Like you always have to essentially single fighter, and that's a bit boring. Now you'll actually be able to, hop into a hammerhead or whatever. So we'll get a bit of an idea of what that's like, hopefully pretty soon. But also the fact that they talk about it, that it also works in team tank battle, also gets me excited because it means we're going to be able to fully crew tanks, and that's, I think I like the tank battle missions. I do think they're missing a little bit of stuff, and I think it'd be a little bit more interesting to actually have like a bit of a full crew in there.
Yeah, and let's touch on that a little bit, and then I guess we'll let the producers know that we're ready for some calls for the first section here. Is the one thing I want to touch on in particular is around the tank stuff. Is they did the radar things with tank battle in mind, it seems like, but I don't think it's just tank battle in mind. The only way to make a ground vehicle viable in a game that has spaceships is to do what they're doing with the radar, I think, is to make the spaceships unable to see them, or not unable, but very difficult to see them.
Just way stealthier, essentially,
Exactly, but they can see each other. And then I start, my mind starts going, and why I wanted to touch on it in this section is you see Bloodshot Ridge, you see Maker's Point, you see Settlements. Settlements have tons of AI at them. They could have players at them, and you might, realistically, for once, use ground vehicles to take out these AI, because if they are punishing, I'd much rather have them shoot at a vehicle than shoot at my character, especially with a lot of the changes to the health and the injuries and all that stuff, right? So I would use those. Well, what am I going to use to take those out? Well, the only other way to take those out sounds like other vehicles, right? So now it just makes a lot of sense to bring those in, and I'm curious kind of, did that cross your mind? And do we really think this is the beginning of ground vehicles actually having a purpose in the game? Like, I don't think that this was just to make tank battle more enjoyable. I think it's finally Arena Commander doing what Arena Commander said it would do, which is improve the PU.
Yeah. All that tracks for the most part. I don't disagree with any of it. I do want to point out that there is a sort of additional point to be made about through monthly reports for the last couple of months, and in a couple of in one particular patch note as well. There's been lots of talk about NPCs in ground vehicles.
Yep.
And so maybe that's a little bit closer than we think, because I don't necessarily know why you would put a lot of that stuff in there if we aren't going to be fighting ground vehicles that aren't from players. It feels like a weird thing to prioritize otherwise, because there's so little player v player ground vehicle stuff in the game. So that'd be exciting. I can only hope for that. I mean, we'll have to classic Star System. We'll have to wait, but all of that makes sense to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense on the current servers that we have, but then again, you were playing on 4 FPS servers and they seem to be acting correctly, so maybe that's not...
the AI were working.
Yeah, so that may not be as much of an issue anymore. So we'll see, but it should be something that would realistically be possible. Now, again, this was a test to see if people would come in and talk. We didn't have anybody pop in. So today might be a little bit different, where it might be just us for a little bit until we get on a topic that's spicy and people want to talk about. So yeah, we thought that it would go one way, but classic, it may not be the way how you think things go. Because every week we have people waiting in the green room, and this week was the first week that we closed it and brought people in. But yeah, maybe
because everyone's sitting on the RSI website making sure that they're going to be able to get their javelins. That's why everyone's refreshing.
We also touched on the stuff that's like, it's the old stuff, right? We haven't touched on any of the new stuff. So you want to go into some of the new stuff? What is what's your most exciting thing that happened this week?
Because it kind of combines a couple of things. So we had the ISE about the new ships that we're getting in this first section of IAE, and then we've had 2 days of IAE. We're about to go into the third. The Suan.
How do you pronounce it?
Suan.
Soylent.
Soylent Green.
Yes.
This ship is so damn cool.
Yeah.
And not very expensive. It is very, very weird. We did a little like channel point prediction thing, being like, hey, what does everyone think the price is going to be? Alien tax does not exist. It is finally confirmed, and I get to be so happy and prove people wrong. I've been trying to prove people wrong about this for ages. Confirmed.
Dude, I was about to pause the video to talk like this was a react, so I paused it anyway, so I feel comfortable. But it sort of is an alien tax, but not really, because it's definitely not a starter ship. It's how much is the Nomad? It's cheaper than a Nomad, because I guess they value cargo capabilities in price a lot more than they value speed.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, very much so. Which I would have thought they would have, like just based on how they've priced things previously. It always felt to me that it's like the weirder the ship is, and like if it's got completely different design language to anything else in the game, it always felt like it got a little bit more expensive, but obviously that wasn't the case here.
Yeah.
So pretty decent price point, especially for anyone who is looking to join during IAE and knows all the risks about Star Citizen and all that sort of stuff.
It's a AAA game price. It's
$72. You get the Suan, you get an advanced starter. It's pretty good. Comes with triple Panthers as well, like decent firepower for a starter as well.
That's better than decent, dude. That's
has a bunch of size 2 missiles, so it pops off. But really, it's the design of it is insane. It's crazy to me. They put so much work into just a thing that we've completely never seen before.
What do you like the most about it?
There's one specific thing that I really, really love, which is if you use the light switch up the top, when you get into the cockpit, it changes the color of the panels.
Oh,
so it's got gamer RGB lights.
That's pretty funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. I got it, and I got the concierge skin for it too, the brown one, because it looks sick. The the reason I did, I melted for it. I didn't add any new money, by the way, just so people know. I refuse. There's no way I could add more money to this game. I've added enough. But the reason I did is the interiors of ships is what means the most to me. I love the mole, not just because it's a mining ship, because the interior, it makes sense to me. I love the 100i as well for that reason. This was like the 100i on steroids, multiple levels, just usability, functionality. It feels like this is a ship that, if it feels like a ship that you can live in and you only stop at a space station for fuel and oxygen and water, that's the kind of ship I want. So for a starter ship, this is the one for me. I made a statement though. It's time to revamp what a starter is after you come out and say this thing's a fucking starter. I think it's time. We're doing the Zeus Mark II. It's time for the Aurora Mark II. It's time for the Mustang Alpha Mark II. Starter ships should be at the $70 price range, because this is a clearly not a $40 video game, right? It will never be. They're going to price it at these prices anyway. It should just be there. Give the ships that are at those values, and I want to see a bigger Aurora with a little internal thing similar to this, and just see where what RSI would do with this, right? And so on. That's what this ship made me really feel, is the original starters need to go and need to be revamped into something new. And maybe if you backed originally for the original ones, you get the updated version. Maybe there can definitely be some debate around that, but I think it's time. I mean, look at this thing; it's ridiculous. They just keep doing better and better and better, and it's time to. Some of the stuff we went back on needs to be improved.
I don't know if I necessarily agree. I think there is a good reason to have what I would essentially call tutorial ships, which the Aurora, the Mustang, probably the Pisces fits into sort of that category, where it literally is just, this is the ship I'm using to learn the game, and that's it. I will be essentially getting rid of it as quickly as I can.
Sure, but why? Why when you can learn the game with this? You can learn the game with this.
Yeah, you could, but then you don't need to increase the price. You know what I mean? Like, I think these ships are the kind of ships that you are going to live in for a fair amount of time. In fact, you'll even probably, like, this ship in particular, the Suan, feels like a daily driver to me, if I'm just doing random errands. And that's, to me, very different than what I think of when I think of an Aurora or a Mustang, which is literally tutorial ship that I'm never going to use again.
I see where you're coming from, but let me make my argument a little bit different then. How I look at the game is the idea of a tutorial ship should just maybe be in the tutorial, and then you get your main ship or something like that. But the idea, I agree with you 100%. It feels like a daily driver, right? It's what you do. Yeah. You can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that with it. And then this ship is the ship that you daily drive, but when you want to do careers, you use career ships, and that's where you start getting more specialized. So ships like this isn't a Gladius, right? Because it has an interior and it can hold some cargo and things like that. So Gladius clearly isn't your daily driver. A Saber, maybe, it might be for some people, but in terms of like, I could do a little bit of everything. That's how I see it. And then you go into your careers with those very expensive, big, specialized ship, whether you buy them in game or out of game, right? So that's just sort of how I looked at it, and I would love to see a daily. Do you not want to have a daily driver, Aurora? Come on. I want a daily driver.
Aurora.
Okay, fine.
Maybe not the Aurora, but like, I understand.
Yeah,
what
but
you're saying,
something, like more versions of this, but daily drivers like this of the companies that are out there in the verse. So that's what I want. I want to kind of just, all right, guys, those were very legacy. We scrap them and we bring up to more daily drivers like this. That's what this ship made me feel. I haven't been excited for a ship in a really long time. This is one of them.
I guess a point sort of in your favor is this feels like such a great ship for a new player, and I feel like it's been It's been that way with a lot of these sort of advanced starters for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know about you, but it's always been the case when someone's coming into the game and once again, they know about the risks of Star Citizen.
Yeah.
And they've been like, well, what ship should I start with? And a lot of people always say, well, look, if you want to spend the extra money, it's very much worth it to get like an Avenger Titan, and you'll enjoy your starting experience a lot more.
Yeah.
Now
you
so I
can get
guess,
this.
yeah. Oh, 100%. I'm going to recommend this to new people. There's one thing everyone's been like, oh, but like it's so weird to to launch and land and whatnot. Of course it is, because you've all been launching and landing on all the other ships a completely different way for the entire time. A new player, it's gonna be fine. They strafe down instead of forwards.
It's really not that bad. It's super forgiving. Yeah. I didn't take damage when landing like a little harder than expected. It was surprisingly forgiving. I didn't think it was that bad. I decoupled into Grimhex, bang, land. I slid all the way into the wall in the front, but I landed. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I like it personally. We got some callers who want to talk about new ships. So do you want to get into everything? I mean, the C1 I don't think is worth bringing up very much. We've talked about it.
It's
been in the PTU, right?
Yep.
Storm.
And the only other thing to talk about, is in 30 minutes we're going to get to see what the AA looks like and feels like. But we got to play in the PTU the regular Storm. They let us play that in the PTU this week.
Sure. I mean, you want to touch on it a little bit more, I guess, because we do. I mean, there was the ISC on it. We did see the AA, so we'll basically get to know paints, definitely how many missiles and price today. So that's what we'll learn. But we do know a bit about it. You're the tank guy.
I'm the tank guy.
In my mind, you're the tank guy. You introduced me to tank gameplay more than anybody, so you talk about this.
It's good fun. It's really fast, which I love, because it's supposed to feel that way. It's supposed to feel like a little bit of like a fast scout tank sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Its firepower is fine for the size of it is. It is very wide, which is a detriment to it in a lot of aspects, but there's still not really enough reasons to use this in the PU for it to be a huge detriment.
Thoughts on the gun? Yeah. Can't point up. You like that or don't like that? I know some people did not like it. I'm also
so when
okay
you deploy it. When you deploy it, you can go 40 degrees up. That's mostly fine. If I feel like if you're in a situation where there's like a fighter and they're like, all right, cool, I'm just going to sit directly above you X amount of distance or whatever, you're probably losing the fight even if they didn't do that, honestly. And realistically,
that's what the AA is for as well.
Yeah, exactly. This ship doesn't feel like it is to kill fighters or anything. It feels like it's there to shoot other ground vehicles.
Exactly what we were talking about before. That's basically what I see this. And bro, they get in and it's hard to watch these ISCs sometimes because they make the devs be like car salesmen. You can even hear them, like they called Jared cringe one time, the one guy and stuff. Like they're not exactly comfortable doing this stuff all the time, right? The one guy was like, "Can't I just say the C1?" Like he said, I think he's saying it now, or no, he would have said it before. Can't I just say the C1 is the A1 but with cargo? He's like, "Could you just leave me the fuck alone, please?"
I was genuinely thinking that they may actually just end it there and just leave that whole section like done, because there's not much else to it.
If it was up to Jared, I think that's where it would have ended, to be honest with you. But
so it was cool. I think the cockpit, the getting swallowed by it, whatever, is fine. The actual cockpit itself, I really like the design of. But this vehicle is designed to be used when you're in the remote turret, so that you get the full sight.
Gotcha.
So all of that was really cool, and I liked it. It also, like, the track system felt right. So like when you're on Nova and you watch the tracks go around, they just feel wrong, or whether it's the animation or the responsiveness just didn't feel right. It felt really cool here and like worked properly. So that was very fun too. And then so there's the other one. So the AA got like officially announced in that ISC. We'll be seeing a little bit of that later. But the big thing is it has a lot of missiles. So many. This is going to be there to take down light fighters.
This looks like my Twitter feed that I'm constantly trying to get rid of. All I see is missiles flying all over the place in the last couple of years, right? So
Not to mention that you'll notice if you like pause when it like shoots all those missiles, it's shooting 8 at a time. And it doesn't appear to be like rattlers or anything like that. It just appears to be straight up, here are 8 missiles.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that works. Because like 8 size 1 missiles, that's gonna get light fighters to either run away or you're just gonna take them out. So I think this one's actually gonna be kind of cool to see at like Jumptown or Ghost Hollow.
Yep, for sure. The thing that drives me nuts about these is they still haven't really resolved missile issues where like, I am pressing my button and it's not going off. What is happening? I don't understand this. So, and then they come out with this thing and it's just going to be like, oh my God, this is going to be brutal. But in the end, it feels pretty brutal when a ship is nose downing you as well, right? So maybe this is a little bit of balance in that situation. So, and we'll find out more about that later. And outside that, SRV as well, which we've touched on plenty. Cool ship.
Yeah, they didn't talk about it during the ISC, but it's officially out now. Presumably, I guess they'll talk about it next week because we'll have Argo pop up.
That's my guess. Because
sort of in between now and then.
After this week's ISC, I was like, what's going to be next week's IAE? And I think it's pretty obvious now with some leaks / the SRV.
Official spoilers. Like we know that the RSI ship is coming from CIG.
I know, but I didn't know what it looked like, and I didn't know what the damn name of it was. And I'm just scrolling through YouTube, and I had to see it. It kind of pissed me off. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I was really upset about that.
The nature of any sort of game development, doesn't matter if it's physical, online.
No,
people will ruin your surprises.
Yep, no surprise for me. I don't want to talk about it today. We'll talk about it next week, but it's kind of telling of what it might be. You want to go to some of our callers?
Yeah, let's get some people in here.
All right, cool. 5-star, what's up, man? Hello.
5-star, can you hear us?
Hello. Good morning, fellas.
Good morning.
Howdy, how you doing?
Doing good. Just catching the show this morning. It's been good so far.
Awesome. What do you want to talk about?
So, I really like this discussion surrounding the starter ships. I went and got the Gatak Suan, amazing ship, amazing functionality, really cool, amazing. But it did get me thinking too about starter ships. And some of them have gotten some nice improvements. Mike, when's the last time you flew the Aurora?
A while.
Yeah, they made some cool changes. They switched the ladder to like a step ladder. You could just walk in.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And, the bottom cargo thing can be detached and like swapped out with other Auroras, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So they have given us some love. The Avenger got a Slim Jim on the bed.
I just want to see what RSI can do with like a little more internal space on that ship. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, you want something like the Titan, the Nomad, now the Suan, where it's a bit more of an actual live-in ship sort of thing.
Yeah.
Also, too, a feeling I've had since the day I backed the game, I really don't think the Mustang should be a starter ship at this point, or at least switch it with the what's the one that has the interior?
The Beta?
Yeah, because like there's so many people that when they're getting into the game, they're like, which one should I pick? And everyone's like, don't pick the Mustang, And it's just like it's kind of like you playing Pokemon Red and you pick a Charmander, You struggle a bit in the beginning.
Charmander is bad?
No, well, the thing is Charmander turns really good in the end.
Good. I was about to say that.
Yeah. No, it just
it makes sense.
It makes sense, but it also, I don't know. I sometimes tell people to go for the Alpha just because cool cockpit, decent firepower. I know it's not good, but it's still okay. And I don't know. I wouldn't shy people away from it, but I just prefer the Aurora. That's just my preference.
Yeah. I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, the big thing to me is I think a starter ship should have an interior of some kind. Just because, like, a new player, they're going to want to go explore, They're going to do a box mission at some point or try to put something on the ship and realize they can't. And it's always, like, a weird thing, So, I mean, I like the Mustang. It's a cool ship. But, I would always, say, hey, Aurora is probably the better choice.
True. What do you think about the other stuff? the C1. I know. I mean, I watched a video of what you think about the C1, but like Storm and things like that.
Yeah, so the Storm, I actually have not tried the Storm, but the fact that it
Mhm.
can fit in the Connie Phoenix was wild. It's the only one wide enough, which I didn't even know the
Yeah.
Phoenix was the widest.
I just think with the changes that they're making, we're finally going to start to see people use ground vehicles.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am so excited for the persistent hangers, man.
Not for the memes, not just for fun,
Yeah,
for actual reasons.
Yes. And funny enough, I think the AA will be the most useful one, just because of like Jumptown and Ghost Hollow and stuff,
And because of how
Most
powerful
likely.
missiles are, for sure, yeah.
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 I think the
Did
only
we ever
problem
get
with the only problem with it is that it's going to be very hard to rearm. So one thing that I saw happen a lot is like during Jumptown, people would use ballistas a lot, and then the Centurion came out, and people still use ballistas, but it got like every time I was playing, it was way less people using ballistas to try to protect it, and people using Centurions, just so you don't have to mess around with rearming it and doing all that sort of stuff. This presumably will have that same issue.
322, maybe not.
Yeah.
Cargo container filled with missiles. Guy with a multi-tool.
Maybe, yeah.
Filling
That
it
is
up,
true.
maybe.
The thing about the AA though is like with the ballista, the missiles are external, so you can just like plop them on. With this one, they're like in a bay, so I don't know.
It
like,
might be a little annoying to fill it up.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Do we have a confirmation on the missile count?
No, not until today.
We don't know. We'll find out. It's likely to be though.
What they showed.
Well, it's likely to be double what you can see there. So it's sort of like they've stacked on top of each other. Likely.
I think it's going to be exactly what they showed because they do the interviews beforehand and then get the footage after. My guess is it'll be exactly this. 8 size 2s, and then what is this? 4x4, 32? 32 size ones. So that's my guess, but we'll see. We'll place a friendly bet on it. So you think it'll be double this?
I think it'll be double.
Okay.
I think it'll be double.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
So
either way, even if it's not double, that's still so many missiles.
True.
Right.
Agreed.
So
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm liking the Suan, man. It's really cool. They did a good job.
Tell me more. Are you gonna use it as a daily driver, or I think Croncy pointed it out there that it's just like if I'm flying around and I'm not doing anything specific, I think I'm gonna be flying this.
Yeah,
I still call it the Soylent around. The soy ship.
We just need a green skin of it, and then we'll be fine.
Soy boy. Yeah, this will be my travel ship. It's really, really awesome. Amazing for the price. Holy crap, the price! I still can't believe it. Yeah, I think it's great. I upgraded from a Fury to it, and then I saw the giveaway one pop up, but I'm like, nah, I want to keep this one, so I bought an upgrade. Yeah, I'm probably gonna always keep it, man. It's very cozy. I thought the bathroom was incredible. Yeah, man. Because if it ever becomes possible, I want to play as an alien. 100%. I want my character to be an alien. So I think this would be a good ship to do.
All right. Well, I guess we'll leave it there because we got one more person that wants to chat about ships, and we'll let you go 5-star. But in case you guys don't know, 5-star streams on Twitch and makes YouTube videos. So just as you see it above, check him out on those platforms, I guess. But 5-star, thank you for calling in, and we'll get our next caller in.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for the shout out. Y'all have a great rest of the show.
Yeah, man. Talk to you later.
Yeah, have a good one.
All right, and our next caller is Hudson Hawk. Hudson,
how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
Good.
Ooh, the Suan.
Tell me about it.
Oh, man, it's such a great ship.
Why?
Such a great ship. I mean, just as a starter, just the freaking quantum fuel capacity is amazing.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
And then the size 3 guns and the 12 size 2 missiles. It's like, oh man.
Do you think it's on purpose?
What, the missiles or the quantum fuel?
The fuel.
I'm not sure. I'm kind of hoping it is, but then again, it might be just another cutter thing.
Yeah,
I feel like the fuel is probably on purpose because it's essentially it's only like 2 jumps fully across, right? or maybe it's like three, I think. Whereas the cutter was like, I could never stop quantuming ever. It was a very, very like much more drastic situation that happened there.
Is the cutter still that crazy?
I think they actually dropped the fuel.
Yeah, I thought they brought it down.
Okay.
Yeah, I know the Scout they brought it down, but it's not the whatever, it's 6,000 liters or whatever.
Yeah, because what I think is sort of happening there is probably the cutter and the Suan are about the same now apparently, but I think what's starting to happen is they're looking at what Pyro might be and saying we need to adjust the quantum fuel levels for these, and then in Stanton you'll just have more jumps. Is my guess.
Right.
Yeah,
is like as the game grows and as they figure out what the systems are. I know they always wanted to push the idea of refueling being important in Pyro, but I don't think running out of fuel or barely being able to go anywhere is very fun now, is it? So I think the idea there is to provide a good experience overall, and I think that they're kind of seeing that, and I think most ships will adjust up to where these ships are at some point. I think it's just a lot easier as you make it to make it as intended than to go back and adjust every single ship. So my guess is that's what's happening. We definitely saw it in the Pyro preview. Didn't they 10x every ship, right? So as far as quantum fuel went, I imagine that'll be part of the balance, general balance of ships coming in. So I did look at it and go, wow, that's really good. But then it also made me think of maybe that's intended for everything coming forward.
I mean, regardless, you obviously want new player ships to not have to rely on that sort of stuff anyway.
What do you mean?
Like refueling less often is a fantastic thing for starter ships. You don't want a new player's experience to be running out of fuel after a single jump. Even if it makes sense with the size of the ship, that's a bad experience. So making sure they do have more fuel, cool. Yeah, 100%. It sounds good, and definitely a point in its favor.
Maybe that'd be a good characteristic for starter ships. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I first started a pledge to Titan, it was just like, really, only 600 liters? Can't even make it to frickin' Crusader.
Has that ever been adjusted?
I don't know. I haven't flown a Titan in forever.
Okay, yeah.
Sure, it's been a half second.
It's my my least favorite ship, so I don't touch the Avenger. I think it's the ugliest. So I never use it.
I kind of like it. I just don't like that it doesn't have like a weapons rack or a toilet.
Yeah, I mean it has an interior, and it does give that feeling that you can live in it a little bit, but it's so legacy. It's so trashy.
I need to know why does it having a toilet make the difference for you? Because that sounds like a strange take.
It doesn't. It's just everything else. All the newer ships, especially like the Sulan's, got it, but the weapon rack is kind of more big.
Yeah, weapon rack's pretty important, I feel like. Yeah. Especially as people start to stop going to stations as often, just in general.
Yeah.
And external storage or community storage on a ship.
Speaking of storage, actually, that's one thing that's a bit weird with it. It was kind of cool where they put the positions of where the cargo sits for the ship. For those that don't know, it's got 6 SCU of cargo. But I was really thinking and kind of hoping that they were going to do the theorized SCU stuff from the Raylan, the triangle containers and stuff. And I was a little bit sad that didn't happen.
I think it may still in the future, but we need to get this thing in now happened. It would be my guess. It's a weird implementation, but I'll let you jump in, Hudson, in a second. I want to mention this real quick. The one thing that it made my mind go crazy about was thinking about the moment a 1 SCU empty container can attach to that exterior. It's a damn good looting ship because you can have 6 of those or resupply or anything. I was just thinking about because it was so recent, our mining thing yesterday. I ran out of gadgets. All right, land the ship, boom. Go grab them from the box, Yeah. So it seems like kind of useful. A lot of ships have external cargo though, so it could be done with a Hull A or others, but it's just a cooler looking way of doing it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day too.
What else, Hudson? Just the Sulan for you, or did anything else excite you?
The Zeus, but that's old news now.
Yeah, and concept, and I didn't know that it was going to be the second one that they're making. I thought it was going to be the third, so not that far away. Yeah,
the C1's not really interesting to me.
I am going to replace the Cutlass with the C1. I think.
Yeah, I think the Spirit series in general are like a really cool set of ships. It's just they've been making some really cool ships, so it's like not as exciting anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's just we've already had that kind of ship for a long time. It flies, it's got guns, it's got cargo. There's nothing unique or special about it, really. No. I just think it's a newer version of the Cutlass, and I would like a newer version of the Cutlass because it's just old. I've flown it forever, I guess.
Well, variety is nice, but at the same time,
yeah. But I don't know, Hudson. You got anything else?
I was actually thinking about. I was going through the Aegis Day floor, and I hopped on the Redeemer, and I was just looking at the jump seats on the second floor. I'm like, why are these up here?
Because it's not a dropship.
Right, but I mean, if you're trying to deploy ground troops, you want them on the bottom floor so they can quickly disembark instead of having one by one go down a ladder.
Yeah, I agree, but that's not what the Redeemer is.
Yeah,
I've had this discussion with a couple of people in stream recently because it's come up a lot more recently, and it's just like, yeah, this is a gunship. They didn't put it there because they put the beds and stuff in the other spots. They're just using up the space. It's really only there to be a gunship. I would argue the actual ship with that problem is the Valkyrie. I feel like the jump seats are way too far into the ship and should be way further in. Not unlike, and this may be sacrilege to say, the Cutlass Steel, where it's they're in a good spot. Those seats are in a good location because you can just immediately hop out of the side.
Listen, if the Steel wasn't such a scam like price, would it be so bad? Outside of the exterior guns that shoot, I don't think it would be that bad.
Yeah, no, it'd be fine. But also talk about the alien tax. Talk about the seat tax.
Oh,
that's the real tax.
True.
Would you consider the M2 to be like a drop ship as well?
No.
Not really. It's there to drop tanks and stuff. Yeah. But for for the most part, it's more of a gunship.
The A2 is also a drop ship. It just drops bombs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A couple of friends and I were talking about the M2 and how it for whatever inexplicably has different cargo capacity than the C2, even though the hangar space is the same. I'm like, well, why don't they just move the drop seats or the jump seats down below, so it actually would kind of make sense.
Hey Hudson, we're not on topic at all.
Oh, sorry.
But I want to thank you for getting us off topic a little bit because you reminded me about Aegis Day, and that's kind of why I brought up this video, is I did jump in to check out and see if the changes that would be coming in 322 were inside the Reclaimer. They were not.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Shame.
I went inside the Reclaimer there just to see maybe this is the new updated Reclaimer. It wasn't. But Hudson, I think we'll let you go here, and because obviously anything we talk about from this point is not necessarily on topic. But I appreciate your call, and I hope to hear again from you soon. But yeah, you just reminded me of that part, and I was like, damn, that one made me sad. But thanks for calling in, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, and we hope to hear from you again soon. All right, bro. Talk to you soon. The other reason why I wanted to bring this up is, did you see this section of CitizenCon?
They've got these little
IAE.
Yeah, so they've got these little they're using the side rooms for more than just pathways to get to the other halls. They've got these little I don't know what you would call them, almost like industry info centers.
I would call it foreshadowing or whatever. They're using it for foreshadowing. I mean, you're giving it like a proper name to the locations or whatever, but I think they're trying to foreshadow future gameplay and what their plans are with it.
Oh, maybe there is a lot of references to the mining
guild.
the cargo section. The cargo section has multiple different looking boxes and whatnot, which we know are coming eventually. Um,
I'm trying to scroll back to them.
The mining section has some funky looking rocks that we've never seen before. Whether they become assets or not for actual mining will be interesting. But even stuff like that you just saw, there's like these new orgs that are being advertised, like in-game orgs that are being advertised for presumably, future cargo missions or whatnot. Probably, what are they called? They're not called UGFs. They are called distribution centers.
Yeah.
Right? Presumably for stuff like that too. I wouldn't say it's necessarily foreshadowing. I think it's probably more likely it's just a cool thing to have because there are a lot of things like that in IAE. Maybe.
I think I'm on copium with that a little bit.
Because I don't think either of those things are particularly close at all.
Okay. I was sort of hoping they would be. A lot of cargo changes coming.
That's true. I will say, slightly on topic with the first thing you said just before the caller left about the changes for the reclaimer not being in there. I have been really disappointed, even though we've had 2 days so far, that ships that are coming out in 322, we don't have the hull of the ship at IE like we have in the past, right? We had the Vulture rocked up there, even though it wasn't ready. The Redeemer was another one that happened. It was there before it was ready. So I was really hoping that we would see the Santok Yai in the convention hall, but we didn't, and that made me a little sad. And then we didn't see reclaimer changes or any of that sort of stuff. And as far as I'm aware, if I recall from PTU, we also won't be seeing the X1. We also won't be seeing I think that's the main ones because they're 322. But it was really cool when they did that last time, so I hope they do it again. So that's my little please CIG. It was great. I mean, please do.
Concept cars are always a thing at a car show.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense, right? The few things that are coming in the future. I don't know what else we want to chat about next. We're really, really close to the next show coming on. I think it's in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
322 new ships we touched on. IAE 321.
Garman. So very disappointed at the start of the week.
I was gonna say his line at the end, but I can't remember what it is now.
He's got 2, but they're both burrito related.
Yes. You know what? I don't miss Jax. That's all I'll say.
Oh, I do.
I don't.
It was one of my favorite things every year is the Whitley's Guide videos. And when at the start of the week they posted on Twitter and were like, hey, Whitley's Guide won't be returning this year, it'll be back next year, and Xylo confirmed it on Reddit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they gave us something, so I'm very happy for that. And it feels like, and there was a big theory from someone in chat, because Xylo said, the team that would be responsible for Whitley's Guide are busy with Squadron. Right?
Yeah.
This doesn't have any mocap.
This feels like Jared's team.
Yeah, for sure.
The voice is Jared. Guys.
The voice is Jared.
No.
Yes, the voice is Jared.
Okay, well, I'll turn it on at the end.
100%. Yeah.
I did not hear it.
I'm first sentence in.
Really?
It's 100% Jared. Yeah. Jared is the bounty hunter. But yeah, and then there's no mocap or anything like that. So it's definitely, it's like the teams that just do all the fun stuff probably for ISCs and whatnot. And I think they did a really good job. I'm hoping we get more of them because I love just they're cool, they're fun to watch. That's all I need. But not at all IAE related, which is interesting. So I actually wonder if maybe they had these in the back pocket or something.
I was so confused. Why was this in the brochure at Aegis?
Yeah,
I have no idea. Not a clue. I just did the react thing again. I paused again. But I'll bring up the Aegis brochure. This is where it was. You scroll down and it was just in here. This is where the people found the videos initially. Yeah. It was super weird. And I read through this whole thing. None of it is leading towards any Bounty Hunter V2 stuff. Really at all. Yeah. So I initially thought that was probably the idea behind it. And nothing they said gives Bounty Hunter V2, nothing written there did.
Yeah, no.
But I was kind of are they saying this because of Bounty Hunter V2? I don't know.
Yeah, I no idea.
He is bounty
but I
hunting.
assume there'll be more.
He's bounty hunting in the cities.
Wait, he bounty hunts in R-Corp, and then I believe the second video is
zones.
The second video is in Pyro 3.
Yeah. True.
So kind of all over the place.
Yeah, but he did punch somebody in an armistice zone.
True. So he's a hacker.
True. That must be what it is, actually.
Yeah,
I thought it was awesome, though.
It was interesting.
And I think most people would think that I would hate it, just because I hate everything fun.
It's not selling ships.
It's not selling ships. Exactly. It wasn't selling anything. It was just a fun thing. And more importantly, it wasn't selling anything. It was a content creator machinima done by the studio, so they have every asset and tons of talent and all that stuff. So it was the best machinima you can possibly get out of the game, right? Because they have more tools than anybody else. That's how I looked at it.
Yeah,
and that was really
so. I have a theory for the videos.
Okay.
I think they made them and they rendered them and all that sort of stuff. And then they asked Jared to do a voiceover afterwards and didn't give him any context. Watch the videos with that in mind, and it makes so much sense. Everything he's saying and doing.
Okay.
It feels like it's like this post-production like thing, and I love it. I think it's great.
I mean, when did they do this with, him and CitizenCon and everything? Right? So it makes sense that he would have had to like just throw it in there.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I don't know. I love it, and I'm looking forward
to more.
Do
you think we'll see more?
Yeah,
do you
I
think
really
we'll
hope so. Like, how do you stop there? I need to hear more burrito references at the end.
Like burrito puns were they able to come up with?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I loved it, and normally I'm not a big fan of that kind of stuff, but again, it wasn't selling any future gameplay either, right? And that's something that I do get very frustrated with the team with ISC sometimes. We have it now. Yeah. You ready?
Yes.
So, what I should probably do instead, see if I can. I'll share this screen with you instead of the other screen, so then you can see everything with me. Make sure that it's not causing any issues. Nope. So we got the new event, Crusader Tumbril, and a bunch. I think Kruger and all that, but we'll go through everything. I think I'm a little zoomed in, so let me zoom out a little bit. Or is it just Crusader and Tumbril? Is that it?
It's just Crusader Tumbril today.
Oh, okay.
Which makes sense. Just sort of like lore-wise makes a lot of sense that they keep on doing stuff together, because like the whole thing with the Nova and the Hercules is that they were like deliberately sort of designed together to work so that they can be deployed and stuff. Should be good going forward. Now, so the C1 Spirit actually officially released as of 2 minutes ago.
There's a video.
Yep. It has the best tractor beam of like all the ships kind of at the moment.
Oh, I'm gonna
disagree. Position. Which ship has the better position?
Better position is the Nomad. Nomad's best.
Not true. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
This one, here's the deal. If the C1 did not have 32 SU containers, I would be, or Taurus actually. Yeah. I would agree a lot more with you. But because it can carry 32 SU containers, it does get very, very clunky to deal with.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I mean, they're showing this thing fighting and everything, and it could do it.
This is the new ad, isn't it? I wasn't even paying attention. This is new content happening. Yeah, they're selling ships.
It can hold a rock. I mean, they're showing what it can do.
It's all the basic stuff, right? Yeah.
It is a big daily driver.
Yep.
Right. And we like, again, I think we shared how much we like those.
Yes.
So for me, this is way more likely to be my daily driver than the Soylent. So I'll never be able to say it right. But just because of what I prefer to do, I'm way more into utility. But if I wanted something fast and fun, the Soylent was for me. But this is definitely more up my alley for sure. What about you?
Yeah.
Still prefer
aesthetically, I've never been a massive fan of the Cutlass or the Freelancer.
Same.
This spoke to me way more. Although then they announced the Zeus, which is going to be another version of those ships that looks a little bit better to me. I think flying it around in the PTU, I think it's fantastic in general. It is a good 2-person daily driver, 1-person daily driver for the most part. It's got some nice skins. They did change the base colors, which they mentioned. Oh, that's nice. They mentioned so that was originally the base colors.
Yeah,
the Allegiant. That's what it was supposed to be, but they changed it to the white.
Fucking Test Squadron, dude. That looks sick. But it's always
nice.
Concierge stuff is always yellow because of Test. I feel like it's my conspiracy. But the stalwart's pretty cool too. I like that.
Yeah, that's quite nice. Sort of like a reversing of the colors and stuff.
Yeah.
That's quite nice.
I think the bottom one is always the Concierge one.
I mean, I'm always a fan of bright colored skins for ships because we need more of that. I'm so sick of like snow camo on every ship.
Dude, I want flat black. I want this black.
Nah, that's
I love
boring.
That. I'm boring. It's okay. I understand, but I'm boring and I'm okay with it. I was so upset. I bought a flat black Starfarer skin and it was not black at all, and I was so upset. But this looks cool. I just think more versions of this, maybe yellow on the tint on the thing.
Yeah, yellow. More glass tinting would be good. They've done it with a couple of like the best in show paints, right?
Yeah.
And that's always been really nice.
And there's your price, guys.
Yeah. There was no price increase for the spirits, so
$125 on credit.
Yep.
Basic stuff, and then you have all your packs like always. So cool. Yep. That's the spirits. Let's go back then.
The new one, however,
which would be Tumbrel.
Yes.
So we'll click on Tumbrel.
Yeah. So for reference, the regular Storm is $80.
Okay.
The base Storm, $80. But that artwork just looks great.
Which one?
Wait, of it with the missiles on top.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but it just looks like it suits the shape more rather than just the turret sticking out.
Yeah. It almost looks like a drone.
Yeah.
Of some kind too. I think we'll have another.
Just a brochure.
No, may not be just a brochure. It may be another Garmin. No. There's a video in there. Nope.
Yeah.
So that's all we got.
They just be for the Storm. Yep.
Most likely. I think this video is probably their commercial that'll be unlisted.
Yeah.
So we could take a peek at that for right now and let that play.
That looks in engine.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Am I wrong? Yeah. So because they normally don't do that. Normally it's all like, or if they do, it's heavily edited.
Yeah.
Right. Like we just saw with the C1.
No, this looks
that's just like
gameplay.
Footage.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Cool. And then you were alluding to some prices.
Sorry, how many? Oh no, it's the Tumbrel complete pack. I thought for a second that they were doing the same thing as the Fury.
Started with the motorcycles.
Where they were like, I thought they were going to be like, anyway, so here's 12 Storms that you can have.
How much was the Storm? You said 80? And that's how much
Storm
the
is
AA
80.
is. Okay, so the AA and the Storm, the Cyclone AA, I should say, since there's two. I'm scrolling and I'm waiting to get to the Storm. There we go. So Storm 90 regular and AA 100.
More.
Was it originally 80?
Yeah, it should have been 80.
I don't have tax.
We were looking at it earlier.
I don't have any VAT taxes, so I am the flat price.
Maybe it went up in price, not 100%. But yeah, only $10 more is actually a little bit interesting because we compared earlier today the price of Cyclone TR and the Cyclone AA because they've got sort of similar things where it's like one's a little bit of a turret fighter and the other one's the anti-air, and the AA was like $30 more. Gotcha. So not too bad.
No, I mean, again, I think for me they're and we gotta check out the paints again, right? Holy, okay. Okay. So
it's the same four. Yeah.
There we see. You don't think that's okay?
No, that's nice. That's nice. I like
that's
that.
what I want on every ship, kind of. But they're really feeding the Batmobile thing, right? Like they said in the video, it does fit. But here's the one you definitely. It says Frost. This is what you don't want. Ready? There it is. And then Landfall. I think we know what that'll be. That'll be desert. Oh no, green.
Oh no, kind of like an urban.
Oh, because this is already desert.
Yeah.
And then we could see it on the Storm just for because I never saw the covers yet, so there's some covers.
Yeah. That looks kind of nice.
Yep. There you go. Gross.
We don't need so much frost camo.
Here you go. Here's where your pricing came from.
Yeah,
I don't know what was showing where I was looking at it. That was very odd that the pricing was a bit different, but I think it was
just non-warbond. Looks like
it was like the not maybe non-warbond.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. Nice. Also, the yellow skin I saw in chat, Hudson, who was just on with us, said it was not the concierge one.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, so it'll be available for more people.
Yeah. So the important question, what the hell does the Storm AA do? So we've got the tech specs page that we can use, which is a little bit up.
There you go.
Yep. 16 size 2s, 64 size 1s. It is doubled.
Yeah.
The missiles are doubled. That's so
crazy.
Many missiles.
That's crazy, but that's good.
Jeez.
I think they probably learned from the ballista on that it was just like we don't use it because it's too much of a pain in the ass, and they haven't really given the logistics tools to make it work, you know?
Yeah.
So
one thing we'll have to definitely obviously check out like post podcast is like, can we shoot 8 of them at a time? I really want to know that. Like,
or did they just try to make it look cool?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm hoping that we can shoot 8 at a time because that'll be really fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, first look, at least on this, it's pretty cool. It has, the crazy like ground vehicle combat attacks, just like the Nova does and the Ballista does. But definitely a ship worth getting in game if you want to do stuff like Jumptown. I think probably.
Yeah, for sure. And now that they've kind of nerfed the salvage things, seems like Jumptown's back on the menu again for people looking to make quick bucks. But yeah, man. I mean, there's this little spinorama.
Yeah, look, the AA looks so much cooler than the base one.
Agreed. Like if I was just gonna buy one of these based on looks, I'm going AA 100% of the time. I think it's just better looking, even though it's. I'm not feeling the gun. They gotta take what I talked about earlier, and they gotta sell me on the. You gotta sell me on the usability of that weapon.
Sure.
For a person like killing personnel or whatever, right? So yeah. And now people are linking like the YouTube videos in chat. So I was seeing if it was anything new, but we already caught all that stuff. That's kind of everything, right? Outside of going to the actual event and seeing what it looked like in there, I don't think anything would be different than what we're seeing here.
Unlikely. All stuff that we would have seen at the PTU and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's all pretty much the same.
Can I touch on something? I think I have it queued up. How'd you feel about Star Citizen Live this week?
So I've mentioned this before on a podcast. I just don't watch them because they are too content light and far too long to literally sit down for an hour and watch.
Oh, they're my favorite. I think
I can't stand them.
Well, I think you get maybe you have that proper view on the world. They ground me a lot more. Basically, every Star Citizen Live so far has been, everything you saw at CitizenCon, you're not getting that shit anytime soon. So that was and this week was really heavily on that. And I'll just kind of bring up the video. You can see it, but they couldn't. The Inez, the one on the left, said, and even this guy too a little bit, was like everything was showcaseable, but when you start thinking about everything was also for Squadron 42. So when you start thinking about how everything is super controlled in Squadron 42, remember how everyone was like, why can't I loot armor? Because you can't. Why would a Marine loot somebody else's armor? They have everything they need. So that's kind of why the UI looked the way it was. And then she mentioned that everything you saw at CitizenCon we have to adjust it for the PU. And it's going to be some time because you guys can loot a ton of things. And they also were basically like the pouches aren't coming anytime soon, which seems so simple. Like there was a lot of what I would have assumed very simple things to come in that are not coming in. Right?
Well, I would hope at least. Here's my hopium. I would hope at least that like a lot of the assets and stuff that do interact with all of those systems, because recently they've been doing it, are a little bit future-proof, right? A lot of the stuff they have been doing recently has been, but that's all been stuff that they've just been doing for Star Citizen.
Sure. Yeah, so like this will hopefully be the last time they have to do it, and it'll be worth the wait is what you mean.
No, not quite. I'm saying like yes, it's going to take a while, but I still don't think it necessarily means it's not going. Like some of the things are going to take longer than a year. I'm sure there will be things that do.
I'm not saying that, but there are certain things at CitizenCon that I would have expected to either be at the end of this year or the first quarter of next year. And I think that'll be a really good question to pose. I posed it to my stream, and I thought it was got a really good reaction back, so I'll pose it here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think, based off of all of the things we've heard in the first two SCLs since CitizenCon? What does the Q1 patch look like? We obviously have no information on that, right?
Yeah.
And because it's kind of what from CitizenCon will be polished enough for the PU to make it into Star Citizen. Because I'm still riding. Until this, I was still riding high on the copium of CitizenCon because of how they spoke about everything, how polished things were, like, and specifically this UI, and that's why I was pretty bummed out. Was that UI was so clean, so usable? I was like, all right, give it to me. And then when you realize that it actually isn't usable, I'm not upset about any of this stuff. I absolutely understand, and I agree with the decisions. But I remember at the moment I was like, okay, we're gonna see this quickly. We're not. And that's fine because there are reasons why. But now I'm thinking they have to build on what they did at CitizenCon. 322, not looking that...
Not looking very hefty at the moment.
We'll see what structural salvage looks like. We need an ISC on that.
Yeah. If
it looks really awesome, that will hold a little bit. But Q1, what from CitizenCon are you going to bring in? So the call-in lines are open if you guys want to have any ideas of what you think from CitizenCon might make it in. One thing I think is clouds, because I don't see them on the 322 roadmap yet.
Yeah, I was going to say they
supposed to be
didn't explicitly say, but there was like lots of implications of like it'll be ready for 322.
Oh, they
but it still hasn't been added to roadmap. I think they said the specific wording they said was that it would be ready by the end of the year, not it'll be in this patch.
I think they
which,
straight
as
up
we
said
know, are two
322.
very different things.
But I hear shit for sure, so I don't know.
Well, regardless, yeah, they haven't added it to the roadmap yet. So
it's a surprise that we didn't see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason it's a surprise is because the order of the show. It was the first thing they talked about. So you were like, oh, that's the first thing they said was in 322. That might be the most, the quickest one, or the thing that is most ready, but that doesn't actually mean that. It was just the first panel, So, that stuff sort of surprised me.
Yep. I reckon the star map is probably, because they actually demoed it in Stanton, I feel like the star map is probably one of the ones that's likely to get there a bit earlier than the other things like the UI. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get that Q1, or at least as a major feature for Q1, Q2. But other than that, I don't know. Everything else does feel like it's a lot of work to integrate.
Yeah. What about cargo decks? Not cargo decks, but
freight elevators.
Freight elevator. Yeah.
They've been working on that for a while.
It's a possibility. I don't think so. I don't, but I think it is more likely some sort of cargo update. We're getting a cargo update in 322, right? With the put stuff in a big container. What's next? Maybe improvements to tractor beams. What other things could happen before freight elevators? I don't know. Other than those push-pull things that we're seeing at
the trolleys,
IAE. We're certainly not going to see crafting. We're certainly not going to see a lot of these things. So I don't know.
I don't know. Hey, Mike, why was I live on your YouTube still?
What are you talking about?
On your YouTube page, I was live. I'm very confused.
Oh, because I brought all this up hours ago. Your mic's dead? You're good. I got you.
Am I back? There we go.
Yeah, you're back.
It finally happened on a podcast. Happens all the time while I'm streaming. It finally happened now.
Oh, it disconnects?
Yeah. It's like a crappy little cable. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit disheartening to hear that that's sort of like what the takeaway was from SEL. But I mean, I'm always optimistic, and
the thing is, I'm very optimistic about this too.
This week, I was very excited for anyway. So
say again, you cut out.
Yeah, everything they announced this week that's getting added to 322, I was very excited about anyway.
Same.
Right, like the only things from there that we saw at CitizenCon were the new Derik Settlements. The ones that they were like, hey, these are coming to Stanton. And we've known that they've been coming for a while because they've been sort of spoiling us with a couple of images of them.
Yep. We saw
over the course of the last while. It's not those ones.
No,
it's 100% not those ones.
No, of course. They're all their own individual things. But like settlements in general, we actually got to see them and experience them. And in Pyro a little bit.
I think you're thinking of the wrong... These are not... These are the derelict settlements that we already have, essentially, and it's the same assets that we already have. It's just new locations. So it's not
the big ones.
It's not like the NPC settlements from Pyro, where they're like friendlies.
No, I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking more of just generally much larger, not outposty size, not tiny little things, big ass fucking settlements. Like settlements meaning more assets and like a towny feel instead of a homestead or something.
Yeah. More stuff akin to I would argue the Rex, like the Ghost Hollows and the whatever the name of the other one is on Daymar. More stuff like that rather than just one abandoned building that's gotten destroyed.
Agreed. Yes. We're on the same page. Yeah. For sure.
So that should be good because there's also like there was ones where it's like they wanted, an abandoned drug lab was one of them that they leaked. Didn't leak. They showed us in an ISC like months ago.
Yep.
And then the oil rig, all that sort of stuff should be pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll see. Oh my god, I want to bring this up. This was funny. For if you guys did not watch, I got to bring it up for you again. Actually, if you guys did not watch the the SCL, this was by far my favorite moment. Some guy asked them why no compass on FPS radar. So this guy prints out a picture and is like, "Hey, idiot! It was in every single thing that we showed."
Yeah.
Like I was like, this guy is so based. He was like, "Yo, idiot! It's right here with a big red arrow." Look at him.
Would have been way funnier if it was like, has that image, but it's like, yeah, I don't know, I can't see it on the UI. It's crazy.
And he was like, "Yep, just had that there. Look at Jared." He's like, "Oh my god, wrecking backers." But yeah, that was like one of my highlight moments. See, SEL is great, dude. You're missing out on all this content.
I'll start watching it. I think the only ones I've ever watched have been the ones where it's like Duncan's messaged me and said, "Look, you need to watch it. We're talking about Arena Commander." I was like, yeah, fine. But it just, I don't know, it just feels like it's such hard content to try to consume because it's so long. And like a lot of the time, and I understand why, but like, let's say in the Q&As, a lot of the time they are answering questions that have been answered so many times before if you've been following the project for long enough. And I get why they do that. It's because there's a lot of new people in the project all the time, but it just makes the content worth less for me, so...
Yeah, but the little tidbits there are usually the most informational or like the most valuable information, I think, of the week. Sometimes ends up in SCL. So that's why I always cover it. I'm sort of forced to with the week in review stuff. But I don't know. I feel like nobody called in on their feelings. I think we learned our lesson that the format that we thought would be really, really good turns out to not be as good for the call-in show as we thought. I thought it was a genius idea. Turns out not so much. So we'll go back to the previous format for next week and get a general idea of what people are interested in and what they want to talk about, and we'll bring them in as we go. Because I thought that worked really well last week. And we tried to improve on the improvement, and it didn't go as well. But we had a couple good callers, so it was fine. We still were a call-in show today. But
I feel like really it was also. Yeah, I feel like this week was also just very like lots of small good news.
Yeah.
There's nothing for us to be angry really about this week.
Yeah.
So we need CRG.
Zeus by Mod goes, people really like to wait in line for 4 hours, because that's basically what has been happening for the last like month or so. And this week when we closed it, nobody wanted to wait in line. So maybe they're just a little confused, but we'll figure it out. But good show, Croncy, as always. Thanks for coming on. I think it was a good length. This is sort of where I would... I know you and I would have liked the length to be is more like around an hour and a half instead of 2 hours. And I thought the energy was there the whole time and all that. So looking forward to next week. I think we'll have a lot to talk about. I believe, it's next Friday is the new mining ship. What else?
And then Best in Show is the day after. So essentially the show will be over. At least all the new stuff will be over. By next week, which is also relevant because one thing that we haven't really talked about much in really any episode is this year's funding. They caught up just before the end of October.
Yeah.
What's happened now? Well, it's like we know what the last 2 days have been. They've been really good, but like, is that going to continue over the next couple of days and stuff? So maybe a little bit of an insight into next year.
They've caught up to this point, right? Like, I think they have to make a lot to beat last year's IAE, if I'm not mistaken.
Last year's IAE was really good.
What did they sell last year?
Last year, the Spirit Series. Oh no, that was that was last. No, that was CitizenCon.
I don't know.
Corsair came out. Cutter came out.
Galaxy?
Galaxy was a huge one, and is also going to be a huge one this year, though. That's a big thing because people are now very aware of the fact that it will be getting a construction module at some point.
To the point where I might have to melt something for it. My buyback is filled with just shit at this point, so I don't even know if I have much left.
See, I think I'm melting my Galaxy to buy the new RSA mining ship. I think that's my plan.
Oh, true.
Because I originally got the Galaxy because I was like, oh, refining, but I would much rather have the thing that actually, mines the materials. But yeah, then there's that. I mean, Alien Day being this profitable is insane, just in general, because it never is. Because, people tend to not really buy many Central Guys and Cartwells and stuff.
They finally sold something.
Yeah, all right, no, we have to. We can't end the podcast without saying this because I've been doing the entire week. Okay. And I have to say to so many people I've been proven right. The alien tax does not exist. What does is the Asperia tax. The Asperia tax exists. In addition to the combat tax and the dropship tax.
I think the alien tax exists, but it exists in a way of for ships that they don't want to sell to the masses. So
which is the Asperia tax.
Yeah,
because all those ships are in Asperia.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing, but I think in this case, because it's a starter, we've never had something that they wanted to sell at mass and not artificially make more rare.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I've been defending this for so long. We did a prediction. What is this ship going to cost? And one person said $70 or less. So they won everyone's channel points, which was very funny.
Nice.
Most people were saying it was going to be like 120.
No, that'd be crazy. For a starter, that'd be nuts.
Yeah, it would be nuts.
Because I keep forgetting how much the Nomad is, but I was like, it has to be a little bit more than that. That was my guess.
I was around the same. I was like, it's going to be the Nomad or a little bit more, but then it was super cheap. Well, not super cheap. It's still ship. All the ships are expensive, but cheaper than I was expecting.
Melted bounties with that thing.
Yes,
it was ridiculous. Yeah. It's like. That's why I was like, please, Aurora Mark II. Like, it's at the point where we got to bring the standard up, and that'll be my rah for ships. That'll be the only thing I'll talk about for ships. Is I want those bottom end ships to just be revamped. I think we're at that point where we've learned what the game is and what a starter ship should probably be like, and it's time to address that, in my opinion. But we'll see what funding is like. It sounds like you and I are going to be spending some money next week, or sort of, but
we're converting some money.
Yeah, our fleets will be changing a little bit, and then because again, I want both of those now. I want the Galaxy and the thing, but I'm way less on the Galaxy. than other things. I think we're going to be able to experience base building way before the Galaxy ever finishes. That's my call.
Probably, yeah.
They're going to do those little ground vehicle versions that they showed. The smaller versions will come first. The bigger versions will come last. So that's how I see it. The Galaxy will come in before base building is in with it. Calling it now.
Yeah.
Right?
Someone clip it.
Yep. They don't even need to because it's just going to happen. But we'll leave it here. Thank you, everybody. Croncy, thank you, as always, being a great co-host. We'll catch you all next week. And I have my phone next to me. Guys, don't forget. You have yours? To
answer the call.
Bye, everyone.
I don't think I could have had the